Eat, sleep, bet, repeat. That's how we get down here on the opening line. No Benny today. I'm your boy Duke, and I'm here, of course, with the man you've been seeing a lot of and reading a lot of and hearing a lot of, Moose from EliteSportsBetting.com and, of course, EliteFantasy.com, our eSports expert. Another big slate tonight. Moosey boy, how we doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I actually really like your is that your room or your office back there?
Yeah, this is the office. I got the double barrel kegerator right there. I got
That's
some
what I'm
album
talking
covers on the
about.
wall. Einstein on the back wall back there.
And when's the last time you used that bike right there?
Actually, yesterday.
Oh,
I'm on a
okay.
new quarantine challenge. I'm trying to get this fat ass in shape. It's not going well so far, but hey, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, it's hard. But it is what it is. I know exactly where you're at with that. I'm trying to work out in my room, and it's freaking depressing. It's just sad. It's like I'm in a cell, basically. Like you're working out of prison or something.
Hey, look at Mike, the situation, right? Jersey Shore was on last night. He comes out of jail all jacked up. Why can't we do the same, Moose? We got no excuses. Of course, you're a busy guy. I feel like League of Legends is at least 2 or 3 times a day, all day, every day, 365 days a year. And last night, you had another decent night there. Took down a smaller GPP. Before the show, we were just talking about what could have been.
Yeah. Last night was a fun night. I would say that I probably did really poorly in cash. I haven't really looked it over too crazy, but essentially we had I think 4 favorites that lost last night. So the typical type of League of Legends where the cash lineups just go bust. Think of it as like an NFL week where all the teams that are favored just lose. That happens once in a while, and those turn out to be either low scoring weeks or high scoring weeks, depending on if the dog is able to come back and win. And for some reason, it always happens in the NFL. It's like week 3 or week 4. There's always like that one weird week, where like the scoring is either like majorly like undertuned or majorly overtuned. And last night in league we had, I believe it was 4 upsets, almost 5, because DRX almost lost. Like they were one hit away on their Nexus away from losing. If you didn't see that game, go watch it. Damwon got their Nexus to 66 health, and they couldn't hit the final blow, and DRX just ran it down in the end of the game. I was like, oh my god, that saved like all my lineups. But yeah, we took down a couple tournaments yesterday. My winner take all, I took down all my winner takes all because I had entered against the same people, and those people all played the same lineup. So I really only beat about 3 people. But when I beat those 3 people, I only beat them by a margin of like 10 points, and we all scored in like the low 200s in our cash lineup. But my GPP lineups, I ended up going off. I ended up scoring about 675 points with the DMO KT stack, which would have been second in the $15 tournament had I remembered to actually play it. I would have brought home another like $2.5 grand, $3 grand. So that's kind of how it is. Luckily we get plenty of more slates. We still have, we have the European Championship going on right now between Origin and Rogue. We have the North American Championship this weekend, and we're still going to have a good amount of League of Legends China, League of Legends Korea, more China than Korea. So we're going to see a lot more 3-game slates, but we should still be able to find cash in those slates.
And we'll talk about the 5-game LPL, LCK slate here in just a bit. But you mentioned a couple things there I want to touch on. Number one, game selection, and then contrarian builds. We talk about in GPPs all the time. You want to play a GPP to take one down, and you're not going to do it every single slate, obviously. But certainly if you're more of a contrarian player, nights like last night are going to have big rewards. You took down a nice tournament there. Like you said, if you would have put in the $15 one, another $3K coming your way. But as far as the cash game, I want to focus on this too, Moose, because you and I have talked about this off air. Several of these players, especially those who are new to the sport, will build one lineup and run it everywhere, right? They'll push an optimizer and then all of a sudden kick out, one lineup, put it all over the place. Are you taking advantage of opportunities like this? Are you targeting certain players? You don't have to name names here, obviously, but how are you differentiating your cash game selection? Is it just 50-50s? Are you going head-to-heads? How are you doing that?
I do it all. So I do head-to-heads. I'll do winner-takes-alls. I consider those cash games because you're really only playing against 3 other people. So think of it as like 3 heads up at once. If you do like a winner-takes-all, I don't like to do the 5-player winner-takes-all. I think that's too much. That's pretty much the tournament at that point. But so I do those games, and then I do the double ups. But honestly, I feel like the double ups are where I've had the least success, because if your lineup doesn't do well, then you're not going to be winning double ups. You're going to be winning your head to heads and your winner takes alls, if anything, because a lot of other people are going to be playing the same lineup as you, or something close. But yeah, basically, I would say that a lot of people will optimize their lineup in a way that is not efficient, and they don't see it. So their goal is basically to force the highest favorite in with another high favorite, and to do that, you have to play a support at captain, or maybe a top at captain. Last night it was top at captain, and I saw top at support at captain of all the people that I played against. You kind of get a feel for these players and who they are. They're big DFS people, but they're not knowledgeable league people. They just have money to spend, and sometimes that works out.
We like that,
but usually it doesn't. And basically these people are they're I can tell you right now, because I did exactly what they did. I ran the same optimizer they used. It's free, and they had just picked a stack that involved two teams that they thought were going to win, and it spat out the first lineup. Here it is. And so in those cases, what I like to do is come in from a different angle of, I'm going to stick more carries in on a team that's less favored but better priced, and that'll give me the opportunity that I need to overtake you with more carries in my lineup. And so just a quick note on carries. So lately I've been looking at AD carry as the position to kind of carry you through cash games, tournaments, captain slots. But as we look at different teams, the AD carry is not as significant as the mid laner anymore. The mid laner now does way more. So basically, the AD carry can often play more of a support role on a character like Senna, and Senna will be really, really more of a support character, where she's going to be able to get a lot of assists, but the mid laner is going to be the one cleaning up. And so if you really want to create a lineup that differentiates your lineup, that is good for GPPs, or if you want to make a cash lineup or a head-to-head lineup that you like, then take head-to-heads and cash lineups with probably either a mid or AD carry and captain, but take the risk of like a lower favorite team. If a team is still favored, if they're on the books at minus 300, minus 250, but another team is, minus 600 or minus 800, I consider those favorites the same. But a lot of people don't. They'll see, oh, okay, Fun Plus Phoenix is playing Vici Gaming. Fun Plus Phoenix is favored by minus 600. Oh my God, they're gonna do so well. It's not so much that easy. It's not so easy. There's a lot of upsets, especially in LPL. So I think what you really need to focus on more so is figuring out the spots you like for the players you like, the teams you like, and we'll take a look at that with the slate right now. And from there, we'll pick your spots and figure out, how can I make this work to the way I like it, but at the same time builds a powerful lineup.
So let's do this. Let's shift gears a little bit. I didn't have this on the schedule here, but let's predict their lineup tonight, because we have RNG obviously is a minus 1,000 favorite, KT's minus 245, OMG's minus 225. How do you think the masses here are going to optimize their lineup and grab a build? RNG is looking actually relatively affordable tonight.
Right. So the RNG line, again, like Rogue Warriors, they're not a good team macro wise. Macro meaning big game. Like when they play a game, they're more focused on the smaller player performance. They're not focused on the big economy picture, and that causes them to fall off a lot in these games. But it's not the end of the world. And so, yeah, I would probably, if I'm looking at the slate, I see here that you have E-Star priced the highest, and then RNG priced the second highest. So my imagination would be a lineup that involves a support player from RNG, like Ming, and then from there you'll see like Southwind in the other support slot, and then you'll see players between RNG and E-Star as being the players that you would want to kind of spit out. That's kind of how I would do it. If I literally ran the optimizer that they were using, to the free one on Roto Grinders, and it spat out that exact lineup, that exact one I saw multiple people use. So I know for sure that they're just lazy, and they're just like, hey, I want to spend money tonight, but it gives us a chance to kind of actually play and possibly win. So I like the opportunity of being able to do that. So I'm just taking a look now, just on the same randomizer, to see if I could generate the lineup that they're looking at, and let's see here if I can pull it out of my butt here.
No pressure. the lights are on.
Let's see. All right, so let me just make some edits here because it gave me a team. Don't ever put a team in the captain slot, guys. It's wrong. Don't
Good
do
advice.
it. Disgusting. And I rarely like to put supports in. I only do it for tournaments, and even then, it's kind of embarrassing. All right, so now we're gonna cut this guy out. Thank you for your patience. Okay, eight possible lineups. Gonna cut this guy out. Man, there's always a lot of backups on these slates.
And tell you what, while you're doing that, there's a couple of big tournaments tonight. We got 150K, 100 max enter, 150 entry tournament, 50K up top, 500 to 9th and 10th place. These tournaments are looking like similar payout structures to a lot of the other sports. And by the way, Moose, how are the tournament sizes now compared to a month ago? Are they
much larger? But
I mean,
yeah,
like
man,
2x,
I still remember.
10x.
I still remember when I was entering, DK contests with, I would say about 2x, maybe more 4x. But when I first started looking at DraftKings League of Legends, we're talking about tournaments that had maybe 1,000, and so maybe 800 people. So it really has blown up. But I think that the people in the GPPs are getting smarter, because yesterday and a lot of these other days, these people aren't just making stacks anymore. They're making lineups that are now kind of interesting. They're creating a lineup that will undergo more risk, but might have a higher chance of differentiating. Like yesterday, the lineup that won, my lineup would have placed second, which was a DMO KT stack. Somebody won with Nate 113, whatever his name is, won with a DMO Damwon stack. Even though Damwon lost, they had scored a significant amount of kills, but he had played KT Rollster in the team slot. That extra 0.5 points gave him 50 grand. So it's lucky, it's crazy, but it works. So that's kind of where he undertook a different risk. He played two dogs, but he said, screw it. If I think this one dog is going to win, then I'm already playing them in this lineup. What's stopping me from picking another dog in the team slot? Just give it a shot. And that's what he did. It ended up working out. Good for him.
So did you crunch that optimizer over there? You got a projected lineup for the masses?
Yeah. So it looks like.
And again, this is what we think others will be doing, not necessarily what Moose is recommending here, guys.
Yeah. So I think that they're going to run. Who is this guy? Never mind. So I think that they're going to run Ming in the captain slot, which is the RNG guy, and then they're going to run a mix of either Zhao Bai or somebody cheaper in the top slot, and then they'll run the two RNG carries, Zhao Hu and Betty, and then they'll run somebody else that's the other support for E-Star, which is Shiiuc. I never know how to pronounce this dude's name, and then they'll probably pick a random team that is just going to win. They'll be able to do that. So pretty much just don't play that, and find the people that do play those kind of lineups that have Ming or Shiiauc guy in the captain slot, and those are the people I would target from now on.
There you go. Good information.
They don't know what they're doing, so I would probably. I mean, sometimes it works out, but very rarely, because if you just bring more firepower to your lineup, you'll do better. You'll just do better.
Perfect. And I mean, what are we looking at tonight? Is it more of a GPP cash game slate? And then who are you targeting here? Team wise, individual player wise, as much as you'd like to divulge, obviously knowing we have some subs over at Elite Fantasy and EliteSportsBetting.com.
So I'll go kind of game by game, and we can talk about it. Tonight feels GPP-ish to me, but every time I say that, it turns into a cash game slate. So basically, the way I'm looking at it is, so the first LPL game that we're looking at is LGD OMG. I really like OMG as an up and coming. They're an 8th place contender team. They're barely in the playoffs, so they have to win, and this is a good spot for them against LGD. But LGD aren't exactly pushovers either, because they had just beaten RNG the other night. They 2-0'd them, so it's going to be a good lineup. It's going to be a fiesta. I think that's a good time to focus on OMG stacks, and I'll be looking into seeing what I can do there. So this is the most important key thing that people don't know.
Yes,
you need to avoid certain players in lineups, and people don't know this. So if you're looking at an OMG stack, you want players like Hacker and you want players like Curse and you want their carries. Well, more so Hacker than Curse, but you want to avoid the support player Cold. I don't know why, but on average he scores very poorly. I think it's because he's more focused on vision than he is on team fights. Whereas I can, leech off of an 80 carry through a support. I can't lean on that guy at all. Sometimes I can, like sometimes he'll have a good night once in a while, like his last night where they played against Suning and they 2-0'd them. That was one of his best nights, but on average, the dude's putting up 40 points per game, and that's just not good enough. So that's the guy I would avoid in that lineup. You have APK, Hanwha Life, and the Korean slate. In this case, APK would have been the favorite, but given how shitty they've been playing lately, I really think that this is like a pretty close contest. And I think that they agree with me. Yeah, odds makers agree with me. They're actually giving Hanwha Life the favorite here. I'd probably take APK money line there, to be honest. But the point is that that's going to be a close game between two teams that aren't very good and are out of playoffs. So I expect fiestas galore, and I think that's going to be another good spot to target in GPPs, but not in cash games, because in cash games I really don't know which one of them is going to win. So if I don't know which one's going to win, I'm not going to play it in cash games. The big game tonight at 1 a.m. my time, which is 4 a.m. Eastern, is going to be eStar with WE. And that game is a game that is going to be high scoring depending on who wins. I think that eStar is going to win. They need a bounce back game. They need to pick up the pace. Looking at their last game, I think they had just lost again. I remember they got upset by JD Gaming, and they got upset by Royal Never Give Up, and they got upset by Vici Gaming. They haven't won a game since March 28th, so they need to win bad. And so I think that this is a good spot for them to kind of get back in the mix of the top four teams, because right now they're sitting in fourth at 9-4, so they really do need a win to push them to 10-4. I would really like the spot for them against WE, who are 5-5. But WE aren't really pushovers either. They have a good mid laner. They have a good 80 carry. I would really not avoid anybody. If there's anybody I just really like playing, I really like playing Wei from eStar. He has a really, 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 really high ceiling. The guy really likes to fight people, and sometimes it causes them to lose. Other times it causes them to win. But he is known for his aggression. And the reason why this is the best region in League of Legends is because the players and junglers in this region are so aggressive that they just make it really, really hard for you to play your game. And Wei is that guy. He just comes in and he just screws up your whole mentality. When you watch a Korea game versus a China game, or a Korean team versus a Chinese team, the opposite sides match up so well because one team is super aggressive, the other team's like, oh my god, we're just trying to macro. And so you see a lot of that kind of mix.
Just looking at his profile here, Moose, over on DraftKings, he's 7,400 tonight. Very clear discrepancy here between wins and losses. Perfect GPP play, like you're talking about. I mean, he's at 15, 33 points in their last two losses, and then 110, 128, 114 in 3 straight wins there. So high ceiling for sure.
Yeah, like I think him and Peanut have the highest ceiling of any junglers. Peanut is an old school player that played in LCK and the Rocks Tigers, and at that time he was known as the best jungler in the game. So he's still really good, and he has flashes of those games. But he's just on a crappy team, LGD. So not that LGD can't win, but it's going to be close. And then the next matchup is going to be KT Rolster Sandbox. KT Rolster is going to walk all over them, lock it in. There's nothing to say there. Just don't play their top laner. KT's top laner is, I don't know how he did yesterday. I actually have to look, but 62 points in a 2-0 win.
Yeah, you're not a fan of So1.
I don't like So1 at all. I think this guy. So the reason why So1 doesn't participate so much in team fights and kills is because his job is to split push. They play a very big back row game where So1 is never in the team fight, and it pisses me off. If this dude ever gets into a team fight, it's like he doesn't want to participate, and I don't blame him. Like, I think he's just a weaker top laner, and he knows it. Okay, big deal. On the Sandbox side, avoid the punch on fleek people. Both of those junglers are actually even on fantasy points per game, but they like to sub out Lonely for Summit in the top lane. They like to sub out on fleek for Punch, back and forth. So the only players that I would play here is probably Dove, who looks like he secured his spot on Sandbox, but they might start Fate, so even that's like up in the air. They were running with Fate earlier in the season, but now they're going to start Dove. Dove, Route, Gorilla are the three people I'll place for Sandbox. If you think they upset, I don't. I lock in KT here all day. Not only that, but for some reason I've noticed, I don't have the statistical update on this, but it looks like Sandbox give up more points than anybody else in the LCK. Like, I don't know who played them last, but it feels like every time they play a team, they just lose really hard. Like, they just get snowballed on, and it actually makes into a nice play. Usually when you see an LCK game, it's like 12-4, 15-4, but a lot of these teams, they just go off on Sandbox. So I think the Sandbox is just a poor team fighting team, and they force fights where they can't win because they have no other choice. But I actually kind of respect that, because a lot of the times in Korea, you'll see teams that will just sit there for, oh, let's give up a dragon. Oh, let's give up another dragon. Oh, let's give up another dragon. Oh, our carries are still not fed. Okay, let's give up the soul. Okay, let's give up the Baron. Okay, yeah, but then you're never going to win the game. Like, you have to make your stand somewhere. And so Sandbox kind of does that in a really weird fashion where they just lose. So,
reckless.
Yeah. And then they had like a stretch of like 3-4 games where they looked really good. And they kind of had it together. They brought in Punch to jungle. They brought in Lonely, who only plays one guy, Aatrox. So, at that point they were doing good, but now Sandbox is experimenting with their lineups. And when teams experiment with their lineups, they lose all their chemistry. They really do, and you can tell. Now, taking a look at the...
So that, real quick, you like KT to roll here. Minus 245 is the current line over on Bovada. Think that's a little light, something worth taking a stab on?
I would just take them to 2-0. Honestly, like, just take them to 2-0. I don't pay for juice in esports.
There you go.
A lot of people, I posted a tweet about this like yesterday. A lot of people messaged me. What do you think about this team? Do you like them to win? Yeah, I like them to win. They're minus 300. You're gonna pay. What do you think about Astralis against this team? They're minus 400 favorites. Yeah, I like them to win. But are you really gonna pay minus 400? Like, no, stop it. I don't know where you guys are getting these odds. I don't like to bet anything above minus 150 in esports. And I definitely don't like to bet anything above minus 200.
So 2-0 on the KT Sandbox game right now is plus 450.
No, it's not.
No, it's 0-2. Sorry, 0-2 is plus 130.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Jesus, I'm throwing the house on that.
Yeah. I like that line a lot today. I also like APK Prince if they're gonna stay at even or plus 110. I think that's probably a free line. APK Prince are a better team, but they just need to show it. Dragon X against the Freak of Freaks, a great spot for Dragon X to 2-0. That's going to be the next day. I just saw that on Bovada. The final, just taking a look tonight, E-Star to 2-0, I wouldn't really take them because China is all over the place. OMG favored minus 215 against LGD. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't really like to take the plus 1.5 there for LGD because it's minus 200. The final game of the slate, Royal Never Give Up versus Rogue Warriors. In the LPL, if you have a minus 1,000 favorite, it's essentially like having a minus 300 favorite. I don't know why. I think that the line is just, these lines just get so juiced for some reason. I don't know who's juicing them, but like, I'll take Rogue Warriors here plus 1.5, and I bet you they win a game. Because it's just, they need to win one game. And all they have to do to win that one game is exactly what they did against who they play that I was just watching, where they 2-1 them. Let me see. They just beat somebody. Yeah, they played Vici. Vici was minus 450 against Rogue Warriors, or minus 350 or something. It's the same exact thing. Rogue Warriors started the first game well. They lost. They got out macroed. They played the second game, and their jungler Haru comes in with a 15-kill line, 15-3-5. The dude is a monster. And so they're a very like up and down team. They fall off in the macro game, and RNG plays a really good macro game. But as you saw, RNG can easily get lost in the sauce when it comes to team fighting and actually being able to execute their plan if they are forced to deal with a snowball composition. And in that scenario, you have a jungler in Haru and Rogue Warriors that only plays aggressive junglers. The guy plays, he plays Elise, Nidalee, Rek'Sai, aggressive junglers. He doesn't like to sit around. Zwuji is good. Leia is a really good support. I think that line is insane. Honestly, I'll probably throw something on them to win it, plus 500. I just don't, and it sounds kind of crazy, but at the same time, we had multiple minus 600 favorites that lost yesterday. So
that I've heard this a lot, and obviously yesterday it really sparked the conversation again. Is esports fixed?
Yes,
Across all sports, right? Not just League of Legends, kind of everything, right?
I've seen it one too many times where it's obvious that there is something going on, but it's very hard to prove, and most of the time it's not true. Yesterday it felt like it was like I didn't see any real examples. The last real example I saw was when the last Rogue Warriors jungler threw. That was definitely obvious. He was running into they won a game, and I think he was kind of shocked that they actually won a game. So when they played game 3, he purposely ran into the team multiple times. So you could tell that in those scenarios it's dead obvious. But I don't think right now anybody is actually doing that in League of Legends. I really don't. I think that if anything, you could look out for the smaller teams, but the teams that are actually in the playoffs, they're not trying to lose. Like they're actually trying to make the playoffs. It's important for them because the players, they need to keep their contracts. It's very, very easy and very quick to replace League of Legends players and Counter-Strike players. League of Legends players get replaced even faster than Counter-Strike players. And there's always somebody on the bench waiting to take your spot. In this case, in the RNG Rogue Warriors scenario, I think if you think that RNG are gonna close this game, and I'm just looking at the pricing, I'm probably gonna have to play them or OMG in cash, and it's probably gonna be them. But when you're looking at it, you want to get as much Betty as you can. He's a really good AD carry. He has some really good games, but he really needs to be set up well by Ming. So I like Ming a lot as a support. When he goes off really well, upper 80s, which is really good for support. And then I really don't like their jungler that much. His name's XLB, and I think he's kind of passive. Like I think he really just wants to get into late game, and that causes you to fall off a lot. As we saw when they played LGD, he got dominated by Peanut. So I think that a lot of the games, when the players get caught or they do something like that, it's obvious. And I've seen it with my own eyes where in Counter-Strike, I've seen it with my own eyes in Counter-Strike on a random online tournament. Mm-hmm. They don't care. They'll play whatever. They just want to keep their form up, and you could tell, like you could very, very well tell that something is weird and something's going on that's not supposed to be. But you'll never be able to prove it. It's all done in cash or Bitcoin or whatever else they use, and there's going to come a time, it already has in esports, where most of the players in the top circuits are being paid enough not to do it. The rare case where like a jungler will throw and not a whole team, that happened with Rogue Warriors this season, was apparently what the kid is claiming was a gambling debt that he owed. So that's his claim. It could be that he took it for the team, or it could be that he actually dealt it himself. It looked like the rest of the team was actually trying, and he was just running it down. But I would say that 99% of the time it doesn't happen. But when that 1% happens and you know about it, it kind of spoils the integrity of the rest of the players. There just isn't enough money anymore to really force that to happen. The most famous thing you'll ever see being posted in Twitch chat is a term called 322. A 322 is a term that comes from Dota 2, where a team threw a game against another team. No, they threw the whole match for $322. That's just not going to happen anymore.
No, the money's getting too big.
Yeah, they're not going to throw for $60 a guy. So that was a very long time ago. But
yeah, you can't even get a nice steak dinner with that. But look, Moose, we'll end it with this, man. You've gone through every single game. We've talked about some different bets, maybe some potential upsets, maybe not taking the match, but at least taking a game. We're going to save the meat of your article, which I'm guessing will be out tonight. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll save the meat of that for cash and everything. How about give me one captain spot in GPPs that's not going to be necessarily the most obvious, but one you're maybe taking a look at. Not necessarily who you're going to play, but someone you may throw up there.
So if we had 6 games, then we would be able to see who starts for Hanwha Life. If I knew who started for Hanwha Life, I would pick that AD carry because that guy could go off. The one guy that you're not going to see a lot is in being heavily owned is Mr. Kramer. Kramer is so fucking good, dude. He's so good, man. Like when I watch this dude play, like I don't know how LGD is this bad of a team. They're just a bad team. You ever like? It's kind of like a mini version of the '04 Lakers, where you just take all these good people and you put them on the same team. And this guy, if you look at Kramer's scoring, pull it up. I'm not kidding. You're gonna crap your pants. You're gonna be like, how's this team? Whatever. What is their three? They're 3-7. This team is 3-7. This dude is putting up 100 points a night. They're 3-7. Like the last, even when they lose, he put up 85. Like the guy needs to be owned in GPP lineups, because if OMG slip, LGD is going to take advantage, and all they do is feed Kramer. They feed Kramer. Depending on who they start in mid, I think they're going to go with Yuki again tonight, and another just absolute bomber. LGD would be the team that I like to win the GPP, and also WE. If WE beat E-Star, their players will go the fuck off. And they actually have a good top laner. His name is Morgan. He's actually fucking good. So I recommend that you go and take a look at these matches. If you're going to play GPPs, pick a favorite that you like. Pick a dog that you like. Put them together. You'll have enough salary on the table to make anything work. The lineup that won last night, for me, I think had... God, it must have had... I'll tell you right now. I probably left like $5,000 on the board.
Wow.
So I probably left like $5,000. It was a KT DMO stack, so it was like KT was super unfavored because they were playing T1. But don't be afraid to leave salary on the board. If you're gonna pick a dog from either the 2 LPL matches that I just mentioned, or the 3. Even Rogue Warriors could win. And then stack them with a team like that I think is going to win, like KT. RNG probably does deserve the minus, whatever 300, 400 that I think they deserve. But every team in China is beatable. There is nobody that is not beatable. The worst team, okay, not the worst team. The second worst team can beat the worst team in the LPL. All these guys are good, and when they let a game go, they let a game go hard. They don't take the time like another team to go, okay, we're behind. What do we do? Let's stay back. Don't feed more. Let's not force more kills their way. Let's pick a better spot to capture objectives. Doesn't happen in China. They just tilt. They start fighting. They start losing harder. It's 17-4 for the dog. It's just how it happens. So if I'm me, the way I approach this slate is I pick the people that I think are favorites. I pick the people that I like to be good dogs. The 3 LPL teams I mentioned are great dogs, all of them. So just mix and match. And, sometimes you're right on the money like I was yesterday with my GPPs, and sometimes you're totally off.
And that's why you play consistently, right? And then follow Moose over on Twitter at Moose Elite. And I am at Duke DFS. It's been a fun time hanging with you, Moose. Hopefully Benny will be back for the next one of these. If not, we'll do it again, bud.
I know. Benny, please get better. I hope you don't get corona. I hope you get taken care of. and yeah, Duke, please join us sometime. I love the having you on.
Absolutely, man. All right, for Moose, I am Duke. This is the opening line. We'll see you next time.